Welcome to the Momentom Collective podcast. Momentom Collective provides training spaces and community around the world for unconventional minds and nomads to co-create the future. This podcast shares ideas on how we can transcend and shift towards our highest self.
Yes, sir.
Hey everybody, John Early here, co-founder of Momentom Collective at our artist residency, Circus Island here in Isla Ometepe, Nicaragua. Really honored to have our brother here, Danni G. He came down from to Nicaragua for part of the Unleash crew. They were doing a performance and a piece at Tree Casa. He's a DJ, he's a stunt man, he's a circus extraordinaire, and we're going to tap into some of the stories that he's got growing up in Venezuela, then moving into the Hollywood scene and all the things in between. So Danni, it's been a pleasure to have you with us here at our residency.
It's a pleasure to be here and meet you in the jungle, because I met him in the jungle and we clicked right away, and here we are, ready to tell some stories that will hopefully inspire other artists.
Beautiful, thank you. And I guess first let's hear a bit of your background from coming from Venezuela into this path that you've got. Give us a little bit of context and background into how Danni G became Danni G.
Nice. Well, yes, I am from Venezuela, from the city of Valencia. My whole acrobatic career began when I was 4 years old. When I was in school, they came to audition other kids to see who can make it into gymnastics, and so they auditioned my sister because she was 7 years old, and I went with my mother to see the audition. And as I'm watching the audition with my mom, I started mimicking everything outside, and then the coach saw me and, hey, he's 4 years old, he's a little too young, but he's showing some skills, we want to take him. So I was like, I got taken into gymnastics at a really early age, and that was my life. I guess you get to say I didn't have a normal childhood, because I was in gymnastics every day, including Saturdays. Yeah. From the age of 4 till at least when I was 13.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's where the acrobatics and the gymnastics, because I mean, you've worked with Cirque Du Soleil, you've had a lot of different gigs, you've worked in the movie industry, the film industry, as stuntman. So what made the leap from gymnastics as a kid then into some of these higher end performances?
Well, it's funny you say, because when I was 13, I wanted to have a normal teenagehood, or I wanted to have a normal life like my other friends. So I actually decided to quit gymnastics, and my mom said, well, if you're gonna quit gymnastics, you have to pick other activities, and that's when I joined martial arts. And also inline skating was really popular back in the 90s. I remember everybody had inline skates, so of course I started inline skating and surfing. I just wanted to do a sport that didn't have a coach, but martial arts was the one that had a coach, so my mom kept pushing for that. So that was my life in Venezuela. And then, as a lot of you know, Venezuela went down to some dark path with the political and all these things, so it became really dangerous of a country. My family was kidnapped. I had guns to my head at least 4 or 5 times in Venezuela. My mom probably more than me, so it just became really scary. Even though we loved Venezuela, it was just the level of paranoia.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
The level of paranoia. So we all split. My family went to Italy. I went to United States because my sister was there at the time. It was tough because I was illegal for like the first 2 years. And I know what it feels like to be illegal, so I have that compassion with the people that are going through that. Luckily, I'm an American citizen today. I became an American citizen in 2010. But for a while, I had to work under the name of Jonathan, because my friend Jonathan was an American citizen that didn't want to work. So he said, hey man, you can use my ID and you just support me. So that was a great opportunity. So for 2 years, I was actually Jonathan. And that was in Miami. I was working on South Beach in Miami. I didn't even know performing jobs exist. I have no idea this is a possibility. And then I found out meeting some friends from Orlando that were also inline skaters. I met them at the skate park, and they told me they work for Disney skating. And I was like, are you serious? You can actually make a living doing what you love? You know, I discovered this at the age of 21, that you can actually make a living doing what you love. So I head to Orlando, Florida, and I went and auditioned for all these jobs. And luckily I got it. I had a lot to offer. My background in gymnastics, inline skating. It's kind of a rare set of skills, you know, extreme sport and gymnastics. That's where I get the name Danni G from, because Danni G really is Daniel Gutierrez. But in my costume for Disney, they can only fit the word Danni G, because there was another guy named Daniel Ortiz, so that was Danny O. Until today, he's still Danny O, and I'm Danni G. So it's a name that I guess life gave to me.
Thank you, Disney.
I know. Oh man.
And so it came through from the inline skates. They were looking for an inline skater for part of the performance.
Yeah, and the truth is that they were auditioning, because they have to audition inlines, like every year they have to do the audition, whether they meet the people or not. It's just what they have to do. So what got me in was actually the same afternoon I did the gymnastics audition. And they saw the value, and they found a place, they placed me in the show. And I was the first person that was actually cross-trained and can do both roles, the gymnastic tumbling guy and the guy on the ramp jumping over the rock band. I had to jump over a rock band every day. You know how scary that was? There was the guitar player. He was like...
in the middle of the stage, and you...
Yeah, exactly. A ramp like this, and with a landing like this, and this is flat, and you have a band here with a really tall guitar player. He must be borderline suicidal, because he never ducked. The other guys would be like, oh, here comes the skaters. And they will duck, but this guy would just stand there straight. So it was scary, man.
Yeah.
It was a serious job with a very, very technical counts, you know. You at 10-2 have to drop in, because in 10-4 I'm in the air. You know, if I was in the air at 10-5, I would have hit somebody else. So it was like where I learned how to count properly. Yeah. Actually, since then I have never been on a show that was so precise on the counts.
Yeah.
So it's a good first show. It was the Tarzan show in Animal Kingdom.
But that's also spilled out into a lot of other stunting gigs and performances. You were describing earlier some of your stuff with Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like, tell us a little bit about that, and how intense it is to do these stunts daily, and how scary it is.
Well, after the Tarzan show, it closed. I put so much effort and so much training. I created a value. You know, the company had value on me, so from a cast of 40 people, only 3 of us got moved to the Indiana Jones show, which it was a stunt show, raw live stunt show. It's different than theater, completely different than theater. Every day we have to do 50 feet high falls and fights, and like I think I bled every day for like 5 years doing the Indiana Jones show, but at the same time I discovered what the stunts was and movie business, and met some people and started leaning towards the stunt world. At the same time, I got invited to. First thing I did with my money is I bought a camera and a computer, and I taught myself how to film and edit. So what I kept doing is documenting my stunts and my skills, and making demo reels and sending them everywhere.
Yeah.
And Cirque du Soleil developed an interest in, and I got invited to audition in Vegas, which was a really intense process.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of the peak performance. People from around the world, highly devout, talk about precise movements and things as well. And yeah. Which show were you part of?
Well, I auditioned for the Cirque du Soleil, and it took 2 years to hear back from them. You know, usually some people have waited 10 years until they need you, until they need the role, especially actors and singers and stuff. There's more specific. So yeah, it took a while, and then when I got the call, it was so exciting and also scary, because I had a stable life, just bought a house in Orlando, have my gigs going on with the Disney, but it's okay. I had to pursue my dream. I had to put it all behind, and just left to Montreal to create Wintuck was the show, which we replaced Christmas Carol in Madison Square Garden. They have a theater in Madison Square Garden, 4,000 people capacity. And then, yeah, so we spent like 6 months in Montreal putting this show together. Actually was...
you were part of the creation process
yes,
as well?
Which is...
so creating the stunts and creating
creating a show from scratch.
Yeah, wow.
You know, so they put you there and they make you do, okay, move like this, move like that, and the directors are watching, and so you're pretty much making a whole show right there with the other performers. Yeah. And I was usually extreme sports don't have much of a background on theater or gymnastics, as you know, string sport, you know, X Games and this type of stuff. So I was the only one that had a background on theater, gymnastics. So luckily I was made like the captain for the wheeled number, which was involved skateboarding, involved trial biking, rope skipping, and all these sports. So I was able to help design the ramps and change and make. It was the first time Cirque du Soleil wanted to do a street number, an urban number, with like first time they brought skateboarders and this type of stuff. So it's really exciting to be part of that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, is there kind of competition in developing a show like this amongst is there camaraderie, or is there kind of like that, like, hey, let's team up and do this, or because you're dealing with elite performers from around the world, so how does it feel? Really collaborative, or does it feel really like just stressful? What's the environment in that creation process like?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because most of the people that comes to the show comes from sports backgrounds or even other circuses. So they know how important it is. Our lives depend on each other, so you are there protecting each other. However, the number I had to do, it was a lot of street skaters, and so they didn't understand that. They sometimes they were asked to do a particular trick, and they thought it was cheesy because that would be cheesy on an X Games competition.
Right.
So it was tough to open up a lot of these athletes.
Right. You got the extreme sports world meets the circus world.
Yeah.
And that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, because you've got these various backgrounds. How, especially in today's age, how do you define circus?
Interesting. That's a very good question. Well, circus, man, it's an art that is generational. You know, when I got to the circus, I'm a first generation artist, so it was actually hard to realize I am an artist. You know, at what point in your life you know you're an artist if nobody in your family is one? In getting to the circus, I realized that the people I was meeting, their fathers were circus performers, and so is their dad, a fourth generation circus artist. And I realized that this is their lives, and I realized how serious they take this job, and most important, how hard they train. Some of these circus artists, when they mess up on the show, when the show is over, they go and practice. Even though it's 10 p.m., they go and rehearse the trick that went wrong right after they messed up. So really, really intense. I very inspired by the circus and the lifestyle of the circus, and most important, how artists, you're talking about competition, but in the circus we exchange skills. That's how I learned the steer wheel from. You know, my friend wanted to learn how to rollerblade. I wanted to learn the steer wheel. Some of my friends learned how to do handstands, that now they're professional hand balancers. So yeah, you spend a lot of time with the crew, kind of like Momentom. I see it happening here. The artists exchanging skills.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I define the circus: a big family that gotta take care of each other's life.
Yeah. Because you're so intense. You're training together. You're living together. Often you're touring together.
Yeah.
So you're it's a pretty intimate experience, you know, and intense, I guess. You're sharing some pretty full-on moments and high-stress moments of pressure to succeed and put on a good show daily.
Yeah.
How many? What's your typical week look like for a number of shows?
Well, we were the first Cirque du Soleil show that was doing 10 shows a week. So
10 shows a week.
Yeah.
At like hour and a half show, like high caliber.
Yeah, exactly. So it was 2 shows. I started on Wednesday 2 shows, Thursday, Fridays, and then on the weekends we had 3 shows, which is crazy because you have makeup takes a long time to put on.
Yeah.
So then you have to decide, am I gonna remove the makeup in between these shows, or I'm gonna keep it on? And then you realize you might have makeup on your face for 10 hours. So
embodying the character.
Yeah, totally.
It's everything
Yeah,
you do.
embodying the character, and especially if you decide to put the makeup on, then you cannot go out because people cannot see you in the street with the makeup of the show they're maybe gonna go see later that afternoon. So yeah, a lot of work. A lot of high level artists, man. Very inspired by this circus tradition. You know, very inspired. Some of these people came from when the circus used to travel, and every performer was a builder also, because you have to deploy and set the tent and
Create
build.
the thing.
Luckily for us, that was not the case. But wow, I can't believe actually people did this.
Yeah. Well, and you're multidisciplined, and like you're saying, the sear wheel, the big giant metal ring that you spin in like a top, which is one of the most intimidating, crazy things to watch. What other apparatuses or things inspire you a lot? What's your main go-to?
Well, to be honest with you, the first actual show I had before Disney was working in a street show that Universal Studios had, bouncing on the jumping stilts. At the time, they call them power skips.
Okay.
So it was funny because I was working at a restaurant, Planet Hollywood, 10 hours a day for like $50. Insane job. You had to 30 seconds just to clean a table. 30 seconds, clean the table, they move, because there is 2 hours line of people waiting to get to the restaurant. So I used to sneak into this gym to train that only performers of Disney or Universal Studios were allowed. And for some reason, you know, I had to sneak in and train. And then a guy saw me tumbling and skating, and he said, "Man, what show do you work in?" And I was like, "I work at Planet Hollywood as a boss boy." And then he's like, "What? No, not with this talent." Christian de Leon, he helped me a lot. This kid said, "Well, how do you like to jump on some stilts for $150 a day instead?" And I was like, "Wait, what? Oh my God!" So like, it's unbelievable. So I put the pair of stilts, and I dedicated. I started flipping the first day I put them on, when that's kind of natural. Usually people take some longer time to be able to flip, but my necessity was the key of my skill development at that point. I truly wanted this, so I pushed myself to do this. And in Orlando there was a company called Anti-Gravity. When they saw how hungry I was for the acrobatics, they took me in, and I started doing like German wheel. They showed me trampoline wall. They showed me how to do Chinese, like basic Chinese pole at the time. And I started picking up other skills. I was part of like an elite team, you know. These people did like the opening of the Olympics, the Oscars, you know, they were getting the biggest gigs. And that Anti-Gravity, like definitely was the first company that took me traveling around the world.
Yeah, and you've since traveled around the world to some pretty crazy gigs.
Yeah.
Well, what are some memorable gigs around the world that you've been a part of, or people that you performed in front of?
One gig that it was really awesome, doing a routine on jumping on the it was the inaugural day for Obama, 2008 or 9, when he won the elections.
2008.
They did the neighborhood ball, I think they call it, which is a performance for it, and it was nothing but A-list celebrities there. And then all of a sudden we were there doing an acrobatic show. Almost felt like a little out of place, but they wanted us there. And I got to meet Stevie Wonder and Sting and Leonardo DiCaprio. But I almost fell on national TV that day because I was so nervous. But that was a very memorable gig. Also performing for the King of Malaysia while he's sitting on his throne. I kind of felt like the Michael Jackson video. You know the Michael Jackson video when it's Eddie Murphy that's sitting on the chair, and everybody come to show their skills, and then Michael Jackson disappears, and whoa, it was that feeling. The guy's sitting on his throne, and we're performing for him, and then he took us to go see Lionel Richie, just 10 of us.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I watched Lionel Richie with 10 of us with the King of Malaysia and a giant theater out there and in front of the Petrona Towers.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Could you ever imagine this from your upbringing, from where you came from in Venezuela?
No, I must say that my imagination definitely, I mean, my reality has defeated my imagination. It's hard for me to think of this. I didn't know this exists.
Right. What would you attribute that success to? dedication or just being open to?
Well, my mom pushed me and supported me a lot when I was young. So my mom definitely big supporter. Man, it's I don't know if it's sad to say, but necessity will make you create things that are unimaginable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does push the creative ways, you know, if things aren't handed to you and you to move to the next step and move forward in your life, progress, to find creative ways and ways to network, ways to reach out, ways to upskill. Yeah, I can definitely see that. You know,
inventions. I mean, necessity has pushed some of the best inventions too. So it's kind of like reinventing yourself, almost eliminating the thought of you cannot do this. That's that. You know, at some point I was like, I have to do this. There's no other choice. I eliminated all possible choices of failing.
Right.
Because I wasn't gonna go back to work at a freaking restaurant.
Yeah. So the clarity of your vision and your path then was just crystal clear.
Embracing the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, not letting go of this opportunity. This means so much to me. I wanna protect it and love it. For 4 years, I would work at Disney full time, and then my vacation days were used for these gigs, these traveling gigs. So for 4 years, I didn't have a vacation day. I didn't need a vacation day. Just the fact that I can go perform and get rewarded, like, is a vacation to my life.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most dangerous circus stunt or equipment to train on or to perform on?
I think the most dangerous circus prop out there is definitely a Russian swing, which I was never part of a Russian swing team, but
the Russian swing is
this guy.
Right. So there's two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they jump off one to the other, and they have to time it.
Or you can jump to a giant net, or you can.
Right.
But it's known to be a deadly. And I actually did it just to get over the fear of the thing that I was more afraid the most. It was the Russian swings. I was in Australia in a circus job with Le Grand Cirque, it was called, that company. And I decided to train with the team just to get over these fears. But the stunt that I had to do in a show with Cirque du Soleil, we had they had a spine run. For those who don't know, the spine run looks like this. So you jump here and land here. So I had to do it with some BMXers. I can show you some photos later. I have photos of this. So I had to, like, face to face with the BMXer, and he comes with his bicycle at my face, and I ducked under. You know, like very like one of those effects of like barely missed stunts. A lot of barely missing stunts. But sometimes things are so dangerous. I don't know if you've gone skydiving. Everything could go wrong on skydiving. It's like, wow. So you're so afraid that a fear dies. It pretty much, that's what started happening. It's like, well, this is so dangerous. You cannot be afraid, and because you're going for it, you're gonna do it. So I discovered breathing through my belly. I actually read that on a Bruce Lee book. Breathing into your belly calms your nerves. So every show, I put my hand on my chest, my hand on my belly, and I'll breathe. Make sure your hand on your belly goes farther than the one on your chest. Do a few of those. Calm down and go.
Amazing. I love breath work and just really using the full body to breathe and what that does for the body. Have you ever been a part of any stunts gone wrong or big tragic accidents in these big productions?
I've seen them.
Yeah.
There was a fatality on Indiana Jones show. Somebody died
in front of a live audience.
We were training a new group of stumblers in a new Indiana Jones, and there was a sad accident where the guy ended up breaking his neck and couldn't breathe, and it was the saddest thing. Also, when I was in Cirque, I witnessed, I don't know if you guys know what Russian bars are, but Russian bars is that you have two guys holding a bar from shoulder to shoulder, and the bar is flexible. Okay. You know, we are like 14 feet apart, and then you have an acrobat.
Almost like a piece of bamboo or something. Like
but it flexes more. And so then they send them up in the air, triple flips and stuff. So I
just on a fat bar.
They're
is it
like
pretty
usually they're actually
Two.
two semi-fat bars like this. I don't know what you
Right.
think that is. That's diameter 2.5 inches or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Also, yeah, man, there's been a few.
Yeah.
There's been a few Russian swings. Somebody died also.
And is that motivating you to do better or train harder, or is that unmotivating you to go, what the heck am I gotten myself into, when you're witnessing these like incredibly tragic accidents?
Yeah, I mean, it creates great sadness because these acrobats that got these injuries are top level, and
Yeah.
you know, and I can tell due to the gravity of the accident that I don't know if they're gonna be able to ever do this. So it actually makes you appreciate and focus and brings you closer to your team, because I wasn't the only one that witnessed it. It was all of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, some people get discouraged and some people quit. Some
Yeah.
people just don't want, and
Yeah.
some people just embrace the danger and just be more careful.
Yeah. Well, even speaking of stunts, I mean, the other day you were showing me a text message of a guy was reaching out to you for a stunt on a TV show in LA, and you didn't respond within like 40 minutes, and the gig had already passed. Like, so those gigs go pretty quick.
Yeah, that's it. So when I finished with Cirque Du Soleil around 2014, 2015, I couldn't go back to Florida to Disney. I felt like I have outgrown these theater shows. So I decided to head to Hollywood and pursue the film industry. And started doing stunts. And this is a very, very dangerous world, because in circus you can practice and practice and practice, but some of these stunts that you're gonna do are a one-time thing.
Yeah.
One of the scariest stunts I did was holding a machine gun while we are in a barn, and the pickup truck is gonna bust through the door, and I have to come right in front of it with my machine gun and shoot this guy. However, they don't know if the barn is gonna collapse when this truck
Drives through it.
Right. And it's not like you can test this.
Yeah.
So I would say this.
And some of these you probably only have one shot at it, or you have to build it again. That might take however long.
Yeah, and then being a stuntman in the circus is different. There is a higher level of responsibility where the directors and all of them don't want the circus actor to get hurt. It will hurt their show. But in the stunt world, it's 40 years the stunt people have been dying. I mean, what was that movie about the Coliseum? It's an old movie. It's a Coliseum fight, and 6 people die on that production.
Yeah.
You decided to be a stuntman, it's on you. You're gonna take some stair falls, and a lot of people gets injured, and you're quite replaceable, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So it's a way more dangerous realm right there. Yeah.
and then what kind of, I mean, the world in Hollywood, it's got to be its own crazy circus. The circus of networking and being in the Hollywood scene has got to be its own thing as well.
A lot of networking, a lot of training with the right people, a lot of being in the right place at the right time, a lot of showing up to movie productions and helping just so they notice you.
Right.
A lot of all of these things, but luckily having specific skills brought me to actually be able to train actors. I was able to train Rosa Salazar for the Alita Battle Angel film, which is a Robert Rodriguez film written by James Cameron. It's one of James Cameron's dream. He's been sitting on it for like 15 years, and Robert Rodriguez, directed the film. So that was a great experience where I got to train the actress, get her to learn how to rollerblade, and then be part of the the creation, even the design. Man, I've done a bunch of high falls, breaking through glass. One thing I haven't dabbled into is the stunt driving. Yeah.
And you were saying there's a difference between being a stuntman and stunt acting.
Right. Well, stunt double and stunt acting.
Okay.
At the time I had long hair, I had dreadlocks all the way to my
right
here. and so I didn't look like anybody. So I would always get picked for like roles like the drug dealer guy, or the hippie guy. You know, like it put me in this pocket, but it was cool. I mean, but
being in a niche, I'm sure, is helpful in these things.
it's helpful and it's not, because at the same time, some of my friends will be in a production for 6 months, doubling, let's say, Tom Cruise.
Right.
You know, and that was never my case. Till today, I have never doubled anybody else. I always got hired to be my own person.
Yeah.
Yeah, stunt actor. That's
So
a
you
stunt
cut
actor.
your hair, you got some more gigs, and you started into more stunt acting, where you're not just doing the stunts, but you're
You're a character.
you're kind of a
Maybe
more of a
have
character.
some
of it,
lines.
yeah.
Which I wish I cut my hair sooner, because I lost some amazing jobs by being so married to my look, thinking this is me, I'm the dreadlock guy, and without the dreadlocks, who am I? You know,
Right.
it took a while to realize you're not your Pearsons, you're not your tattoo, you're you, man. And
Right.
then liberating myself from that way of thinking, and it actually opened new doors.
Yeah. So who is Danni G without the circus, without the stunting, and without the music and DJing?
I'm a brewer and a lover. Yeah, in Venezuela, I come from a second generation brewing family. My mom is a chemist. I work in a lab, and my stepdad is a brewmaster. So
Beer?
yeah. So I grew up in visiting the brewery all the time.
Okay.
Until I have to, and I was a brewmaster learner. I would like go to the brewery at 7 in the mornings, get out at 4, and then go to school from 6 to 10 for industrial chemistry. This was my life path until Venezuela got so dangerous we all have to flee.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you returned back to Venezuela since?
I went in 2009 for my grandma's 90th birthday, but sadly my grandma is gone now, so that was my reason to go and face that danger out there, is to go see her.
Do you have plans to go back to Venezuela?
I have plans to heal Venezuela. I think art is the salvation. I think all humans are artists. I don't think we all tap into it.
Yeah.
But if you love music, if you love movies, if you appreciate art, to be an art appreciator makes you an artist. And I think art will heal the world, and I think Venezuela will be healed through arts. Right now it's very dangerous, but slowly it's happening. Social media has a giant impact. My friends that are still out there get inspired by the things I'm doing, and this is part of why I do this too, is to inspire others,
Yeah.
to follow their true self.
It's amazing the healing potential of self-expression, and being able to filter emotion and energy through something, whether that's through movement, dance, singing, performing. It's getting that energy going and moving to kind of release it and free up that space for healing and transformation to take place.
Absolutely, but sadly, a lot of people are like don't know how to tap into that. If I tell you, hey man, you want to freestyle a song, you probably go and freestyle, and me too. Even if we're terrible at it, we freestyle it. This is how we go. Oh, dale, no me tepe. El volcán está caliente. Oh, quiero pan.
Okay.
But a lot of people will freeze and just run away. We've seen it, and that is that we need to help people to unlock their self-expression, to make room for them to know that it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to feel this. Feel this way of communication. It's an emotional way of communication. Art.
Yeah. So how else do you define art? What else do you find is the essence?
Anything you can get away with.
Anything you can get away with. I like that.
I drink cacao to that.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Cheers.
Actually, shout out to El Pital, where we are here, Chocolate Paradise, and our jungle bus, which we are filming from. This is my home right here for the last 3 months of our artist residency in the middle of Isla Ometepe. Actually, probably doesn't look like a jungle there, but we're surrounded by.
We are surrounded by. I can count right now with my eyes like 100 papaya trees. Yeah, totally. So we're in the thick jungle. A couple of ants already beat my my toes. Amazing.
And what's it like being in a country like Nicaragua and on an island and compared to Hollywood? I mean, there's such. Where do you feel more at home when you're? Do you feel more at home on stage, in the jungle, in a big city, and?
That's it. It's funny that we're talking about this in like my biography or my credits and the things I've done, because that's not what's so important to me. I mean, that's when I gained my experience. Right. Doing all these gigs, these professional gigs, like sharp me up to know what to be a professional is like. But at this point, I am analyzing discovering what's really important. It's community, and it's nature, true wealth, nature and purpose. So around the age of 33, I'm 38 years old now, I kind of got over myself and started getting into creating something bigger than myself. So started teaching more. Started
Speaking of nature, we got some rain coming now.
Wow. Oh, we're getting a little sprinkle.
Getting a little sprinkle. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, spontaneous rain.
Yeah.
There is no weather report for you here. Yeah. That is just it.
When surrounded by two volcanoes, you never know what's going to blow in, and even in the middle of dry season, right? So, but right, I want to keep going with what you're saying. We'll maybe just speak a little closer to the mic here.
Yes. It will go. It's passing. All right, so we're getting wet now, moist, but it'll go. I'm actually happy for the trees because it is dry season, and now the trees, are getting what they need.
Definitely. but I want to tap into more of that and how you value nature and community, and how those two seem to be really integral for the new earth moving ahead, and the new ways for us to connect and inspire each other. And the value there.
Yeah. So. Well, you have a good point, like Hollywood to Nicaragua. So, we're talking about more of a place where people values more of superficial things.
Yeah.
Cars and homes and these things that, that sure, they have a value, but, the true value to me is that be able to grow organic food, be able to learn about plants. That's true wealth. To be able to walk into nature and be able to point out some plant medicines, that to me,
it's art. Nature is the original artist, isn't it?
Nature is everything. To me, my God is Mother Earth. That's the one God we can agree we have in common. We all have our different beliefs, but the one God that I witnessed provide for us is Mother Earth. We should be putting all our intention to make sure she is doing well. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because I was supposed to be back in LA already, like a week ago?
Yeah.
But I discovered the Momentom crew, and I was in disbelief. I can't believe you guys meditate, plant-based, food, and then, you do the permaculture tours, and then you go train some aerial, and I actually wish there was more places like this on the planet.
Yeah, multidisciplinary ways to find and tap inspiration, and for us, the magic has been that balance between self-expression and introspection. Balancing a yoga practice, meditation, breath work, with being able to be on stage and performance, and the value of the Heyoka clown. And we just yesterday had a class with Alex Bayasso.
That was so fun.
And so fun to embody play and how important play is to release and to create and to be in that state where mistakes are welcome, because when you're playing there is no mistake, and all these different principles. And again, coming back to the values of the circus and how there is such a connection between circus and yoga and community and nature and all these things. It's really quite an interesting dynamic when you start threading those similarities like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, like a lot of productions don't even feed you food, good. I mean,
yeah,
they're feeding you bad food.
Yeah.
There's bad food everywhere, man.
Yeah.
And then you're expecting your acrobats or your stuntmen to do great, but then you're feeding them this.
Yeah. White bread ham sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah, you're like food, but of air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, bread air.
a bread of fresh air. Yes.
A bread of fresh air.
So, what's your regiment for a training day or for a big day on set? What fuels you? Whether that's food or whether that's other things. How do you fuel yourself? Because you're energy all the time. You know, morning till night. You're Danni G. You seem to always be on. I don't know what's your magic sauce to fuel that.
I don't know. I think I've always been. I don't know if the hyperactive is the word, but I always been warm. You know, so I'm like on fire. However, that works great for theater, because in theater you're like, ta-da! Yeah, they have to see you from far.
Right, it's
you
these
know,
grand
the person that pays the
and
cheap tickets over there, you still gotta perform for that person. Versus in TV world, you have to like bring it
internalize
all in,
it. Yeah,
just moving your eye too much, it shows. So it's actually, you know, it's been interesting, the process of adaptation. It took me a while to learn how to relax my face. You know, if you notice, I have a lot of movement.
Was that like, feedback you got? It was like, relax your face, set 1, stunt double 2.
Yes, man,
relax your face.
You're doing too much.
You're doing too much. Yeah.
You actually don't get that note in most jobs.
Yeah.
But you will in the TV world. You're doing too much. Relax your face, man. Yeah, totally.
Well, that could almost be said in any practice too, even yoga. I mean, embody the position without trying. You know, how can you hold the integrity of the thing without making effort? Like finding the softness in your strength and in the structure of things, rather than trying to do something and make it look like you're doing something. Just be the process, be the posture.
True. I think it's all how we perceive what we're doing. You know, like if we think what we're doing. I noticed, for example, related to that, it's like I noticed that a lot of times when I was doing things, I was holding my breath. When I started breakdancing, I would go into a cipher to dance, and I realized I was there for close to a minute, and I didn't breathe.
Right.
You know, because you're so concerned with the way you look and stuff like that, you're not breathing. So learning how to breathe was a big thing. When I became a soloist on the Cirque wheel, that's the first time I had to be 5 minutes by myself, so I realized how to not get tired and started getting into breathing and ways of breathing.
Not overly focused on the output, but also the input of bringing energy in, bringing air in, and not just...
I had a good coach, Carlos, in the Indiana Jones show. This guy is tremendous. He used to work for the Ringling Brothers, and his stunt was, I don't know if you guys know what a teeter board is, but it's a board that, you know what it's like a teeter-totter, you know, like a person goes here, something hits here, and you fly off. Sure. He was here, and an elephant had to step on the teeter board, and he will do a double backflip back to another elephant. That was my coach. So he's done crazy things. So every time he sees us trying things, he's like, relax, breathe.
Good. Yeah. Well, now they've gotten a lot of animals out of the circus, and that's...
Thanks God.
Thank goodness, yeah.
No, now they got us.
Yeah, we are the animals, absolutely, as we should be.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's where we're needing to reintroduce what circus is to people, and it's not just, you know, animals being treated poorly and doing these things under forced regiment, or clowns just being like, you know, and I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions with circus.
Or freaks.
Yeah, or being a freak, exactly, and that type of thing, or even, the clown. And for us, people, when we have clowning class on our schedule, people kind of go, oh, what is that? You learn to blow up balloon animals and whatever else.
Right.
Because for in their head, the clowns are these kind of things, kids' birthday parties and such. But for us, clowning, and sacred clowning, the Heyoka clown, that's some of the deepest work you can do. You're really embodying deep emotions and finding these different ways to put on masks, take off masks, and really tap into these different modes of relating with the present moment. And that's often the hardest class for people, and the most transformative class for people is stepping into a deep clown work. So it's really interesting trying to reshape these things in our mind of what the circus is, what clowning is, what all these ways, these connections are. So
Yeah, well, the circus to me, well, back in the days, the circus was the place you go to see the most advanced things in science and technology and all these things. It was the only thing where you can go see all this stuff.
right.
You know, there was no movie theaters. There was nothing. Late 1800s, beginning of 1900s, it was the circus.
Right.
So the circus,
Exotic
we
animals
should all
and
honor what is done for society.
Yeah.
Jazz music exists because of the circus. You know, because the circus took all the black people from the south and made them into musicians so they can have a black band. And then jazz is birthed when the circus started in India, and And I think what you're saying about joy is like, yeah, I feel like the world needs to laugh more. Because when we laugh, many of you know, is 1 minute of laughing equals 30 minutes of jogging. So you want to know what my regimen is? I think you can see that I laugh at everything all the time. I try to make
You do.
comedy out of everything. I find it like very rewarding. I think actually laughing is the best feeling.
Yeah.
It's a form of orgasm.
Yeah.
A good laugh. Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
and it's beneficial for you. It's so beneficial that even a fake laugh has benefits.
Yeah.
You move around 210 muscles on your body when you laugh.
Yeah.
So
Laughter, the sign of a soul waking up. Shout out Hafiz. One of my favorite lines from Hafiz.
nice.
Yeah. So much value there and so much release there and play, and it's hard to not relate such a universal language, laughter. Right? It doesn't matter if you speak the language or not. If you're find a way to laugh together, there's a connection there.
Absolutely. And I think so how can we make the world want to laugh more often? And I'm seeing a lot of people talk negative about the social media, this and that, but I see a lot of convenient things happening. A lot of people are tapping into their little clown and making funny videos. People you never expected are now there making little funny videos, entertaining themselves, entertaining others. I love making jokes and people laugh because people tells me, man, you made my day. I woke up and something bad happened and now I see this thing and it made my day. I'm laughing. Some people don't know how to make themselves laugh.
Right. And that's why I also feel there's such a great connection with something like circus and yoga or spirituality, is that finding a way to not take things too seriously, finding that laughter in something, and even relating back to circus and yoga, which was some of the original foundation for Momentom, is, hey, we can still laugh with this. We can have intention, be conscious, and or maybe move through a yoga practice or a ceremony or whatever the thing is, being spiritual, but still not. We can still laugh. We can still take it lightly. We don't have to be so nam-shadi, these kinds of modes. So,
and that's important. That's funny you bring that, because I've always been a bit afraid of ceremonies because I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. And I feel like things sometimes get so serious that it could be a bit scary. So it's like, how can we lightheart all these things? We can have a ceremony with a smile on our face and making it really lighthearted when you want more people to participate.
Yeah.
So I think we're up to something here, man.
We're up to something.
We need to inject more laughter into the world.
Yeah. Do you see circus as a form of ceremony when you? Or your performance when you're stepping into the seer wheel or Chinese pole?
I believe, and when I teach, I believe that being on the stage, you have to have a purpose. Why are you on the stage? What do you want to share? And so this is a ceremony. I love it, and I take it very serious, and I will forever take it serious, and I will never stop doing circus or gigs. Even if I don't need the money eventually from this gig, I will still do it. It keeps me healthy. It keeps me in shape. It keeps me grounded.
Yeah. And is that your general purpose when you step on a stage, to try and ground yourself, or what are your?
It's interesting you say that, because I went through a weird transition at the age of 33 when I started performing on the festivals, and Vision being one of them. And the crowd there, it's like people are like more lighthearted, playing around, and then you come in there and you're like such a badass, and look what I can do, and then at some point it's like, I don't want to show off.
Right.
I don't want to be like, look what I can do. I wanted to be, I look what the human body can do. Look what you could do if you practice.
Right.
You know, and so that's how I see it now. I don't want to be a show off or pretend I'm more badass than somebody else. I want them to know that you can also do this.
Right. The limitless human potential.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I feel when I watch Cirque du Soleil. You're watching peak performers and taking the human body and mind to its absolute limits of what it can do.
Absolutely. And he said, you know, God gives you this body, these massive molecules that you can take from point A to point B at will, right? You can take, you know, and then why not explore it more? You know, why just stop there? Why just learn how to sit down, get up, eat, and lay down? You know, there's so much we can do. I would recommend everybody to start doing some sort of movement.
Yeah. Well, what other inspiration would you give people that are just starting into circus, stunting, acting, DJing? Their passion. How would you recommend people to find and really ignite their own passion?
Well, to find your own passion, I would say go explore. You know, we know so little. Like a lot of people that haven't gone and experienced so much, they might I want to do this, but I say, well, what else do you know? Go and explore. Find yourself what it is that you like. And if you like 5 things, do all 5 of them. Mm-hmm. You know, DJing came to me because I was at Cirque Du Soleil, and Mondays and Tuesdays were my day off. And I put myself on DJ class. You know, pick another skill. Why not? Yeah. Just like I'm here training with you guys, but try to go every day and ask Justin about permaculture. Because what I'm going to take from here, besides you guys as friends and a crew, is I have knowledge of permaculture that I'm planning to apply because I'm in love with plants and I'm in love with growing food.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid of learning. Be addicted to learning. Just don't be afraid of being a beginner. Be addicted to being a beginner. Love it. Be a beginner. I love being a beginner. If you see me play the piano, it's terrible. I don't know how to play the piano. But that's awesome. I love that.
I love how you phrase it like that, because that's another way of phrasing what I've always found the benefit and value of an artist residency like this, or, you know, being in community amongst other like-minded creatives, is that you're cross-pollinating each other's inspiration and creativity, but you're also finding that way to be a student and a teacher in the same moment. You know, you're teaching a class tomorrow, but this morning you were in someone else's class, or you're in one of the other things, and you're kind of all sharing these things, and you're getting rid of that polarization of like literally old school ways. University, where you've got the professor and the students, and you be quiet because I know all the things, and you read the textbook. It's much more open and experiential, and what's the word? There's communication there, and then you're exchanging. So you're kind of always looking at each person in the community, going, what will I learn from you tomorrow? What can I learn from you now? And there's such a valuable lesson there when you see a lesson and a teaching with every person that you come across. So. Absolutely.
And also, there is always going to be somebody better than you.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, just be you. You're not in competition with anybody. So if you're gonna want to be competitive, or that's your thing, use it to improve yourself, to use it as a point of reference. This person is doing this flip, I'm gonna compete, but just so I can get that good too, not because I want to defeat anybody.
Right.
There's no defeating. It's all you, man. It's your experience that you're living.
Amazing.
Yeah, I would say go for it. Take the first step. Usually when you take the first step, people will help you.
Yeah. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's been such a blast, Danny. Dropping into conversation, some cacao talk with you. Yeah. We've got your Laughing Ninja class tomorrow on our workshop schedule. Really excited to learn more from you, share that inspiration, and you're part of the Momentom fam now. So nice. Really excited to see where this will continue to go. Thank you for being such an inspiration from everyone in Venezuela to other aspiring artists trying to live that dream and share that inspiration. So thank you, brother.
Go Momentom crew, such a cool group of people. I would suggest you explore more about them. It's good. I wonder where this is all gonna go, because it's just undeniably magical.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Well, John and Danny here, checking out from El Pital, Circus Island Artist Residency, Isla Ometepe, Nicaragua. Thank you for tuning in, and
we're going into the jungle.
Back to the jungle. Right on, brother. For more info or content from Momentom Collective, or to apply for one of our international artist residencies, visit momentomcollective.com. That's Momentom, Momentom. The Momentom podcast theme you're listening to is the track Beam Me Up by our friend and producer Arterium. For more eclectic soundscapes, find Arterium on SoundCloud.